Would you mind talking further about how we can use those lessons of where we were before Queen Bees and where we are after that 20 years later, and how you similarly hope the conversation with AI will move after these conversations?
Well, I thought beforehand, and I think even more so now, that no matter how much technology progresses, that the way in which we navigate our conflicts with each other or how we work in teams is absolutely critical to how we function, like how we essentially function from schools to workplaces to the halls of political power. And, speaking of the social dynamics and the taxonomy that I created in Queen Bees that became such part of the zeitgeist through Mean Girls, is that truly the experiences that young people have and that we've all had, regardless of generation, that we have when we are young and how we learn how to navigate conflict and how we learn how to advocate for ourselves and how we learn to work in teams and groups and what happens when we're intimidated by someone or something, which includes a new technology, that how we learn how to navigate those experiences as we get older. For many of us, they actually become the backdrop. They sort of go, we get older and we mature, but when there is a moment of conflict, or when there is a place of where you feel like you're being silenced, or that you need to advocate for yourself and you're intimidated, or you are intimidated by the content of what is coming at you, that the experiences that you had when you were younger are going to come back up. I call that the invisible operating system. And it is truly one of the fundamental systems in which we are all interacting in various ways with these difficult moments. And I mean, we know, Miriam, like, I think that's the reason that you got into this work, is that AI, it brings up sort of the best and the worst of all of us, right? It gives us incredible, incredible opportunities. And it also presents some extraordinary challenges about equity and about representation and about the foundations of democracy and about how people learn. And one of the things I've learned with you is that AI in some ways exposes some of the weaknesses that we've always had in education. And that is going to be really difficult for people. But I believe that we have the capacity to not only rewire what I would call our invisible operating system, but that therefore, we also have the capacity to learn how to do better. And I know that's why you got involved in this area. And it's why I, seeing the landscape, wanted to join you and also truly learn from the extraordinary people that we are going to interview and we're going to talk with and that we're going to have conversations with. So it is absolutely incumbent. I'll say it to you this way. I was working, because I still work with young people. I still work with middle school people. So I work with politicians and people who run companies and educational institutions. And I still work with middle school people. And I was talking to a group of middle school people last week. And they were talking to me and their middle school principal. And they were telling their middle school principal and me what they were worried about and what they wanted us to know about. And here's what the top three things were. Honest to goodness. One was that they wanted people to behave better on the bus because we're having some behavioral problems on the bus. Two, there was a door that was broken in the bathroom that they needed to get fixed. And three, they were really concerned, and these are sixth and seventh and eighth graders. So that means they are 11, 12, and 13, that they really wanted to understand how ChatGPT was going to and was impacting their education and their assignments, and that they had already learned that they could have ChatGPT model what a seventh grader sounds like when they are writing an English essay. And they were worried about people cheating, but they were also worried about things much, in some ways, more important, which was they wanted to understand how to use it as a partner to learn. And that they thought, and they actually talked to the principal about people who are cheating are feeling like they don't know how to do it and they don't know what the assignment is. So it's just much easier to cheat because it brings up so much fear to get a bad grade. So maybe you just do this. They actually understood the complexity of learning and they wanted the principal to understand that. And they wanted to work with the principal so we would increase their understanding and their awareness and their facility with ChatGPT. That is not something that the principal had any idea that they were thinking about. And I just think it's an extraordinary reflection, an example of like where young people are about where they see it, and not that they just want to get away with stuff, but they actually see it for what it is, even when they don't exactly know. And I think that really needs to be listened to. And then we can think about that for people for all different ages. So all to say, like the connection between young people who are 10, 11, and 12 and how they're perceiving this and how important it is for them to understand it, and how people who are older, they also want to understand how to use it, but maybe they have like some fear and some concern. So I'm hoping, and I know actually, that we're going to really be able to examine that and be able to give people amazing information as we talk to these incredible people that we're going to interview.